91-year-old Emilio, Lolo Mio, Santos had lived long enough to see the world change in ways he could barely comprehend. Streets once dirt and dust now glimmered with electric light. Radios turned into smartphones. Letters turned into video calls. But there was one thing in his life that time had never been able to replace: his wife, Rosa. Rosa had been gone for 12 years. Yet every morning, at exactly 6 o'clock, Lolo Mio still set out 2 cups of Barako coffee on the small wooden table outside their home in Cavite, one for him, and one for her. The neighbors had long grown used to the sight: the fragile old man with silver hair, wearing his freshly ironed polo shirt, talking softly into the empty chair across from him. "Good morning, Mahal," he'd whisper. "I hope you slept well, saw heaven." Sometimes he chuckled, sometimes he wiped silent tears. But always, he spoke to her. For him, she had never truly left. And now, with the weight of terminal cancer tightening around his body like an invisible chain, his doctor had told him he might not have much time left. A few months, maybe. A year if he was lucky. He didn't tell his grandchildren right away. He didn't want pity. He hated sad faces. What he wanted, what he believed he still owed the world, was one last song. Because before cancer, before heartbreak, before wrinkles, and arthritis and goodbyes, he had been a singer. Not famous, not successful, but a man who sang love songs to his wife in tiny community events, barangay fiestas, and church gatherings. And every time he sang, Rosa would stand at the front of the crowd, smiling at him as if he were the only person on earth. "You have a voice made for love," she'd always tell him. He believed her. He always had. The idea to audition for America's Got Talent didn't come from him. It came from his 8-year-old granddaughter, Mia, who had been watching AGT clips on YouTube one afternoon. "Lolo," she said, running up to him breathlessly, "you should sing on this show. They let old people join. I saw a grandma dancing hip-hop." He laughed at that. "I naku, I'm too old." But the little girl folded her arms. "You're not too old, you're just scared." That hit him harder than any diagnosis. He blinked. "Scared? Ako, why would I be scared?" "Because," she said seriously, "you miss Lola. And singing for a big crowd makes you think of her." He stared at her. Children saw everything. That night, he opened the dusty wooden box where Rosa had kept all their photos. On top was a black and white picture of them from 1957, he in his crisp white camisa de chino, she in a floral dress with her hair tied up in a bun. They were laughing, caught mid-moment, eyes full of love. He held the photo, tracing her face with a trembling finger. "Mahal," he whispered, "I want to sing for you again. One last time, but I'm not sure I can." But as he looked at her smile frozen in time, he heard her voice in his memory. "Your voice is my favorite place." The next morning, he told his daughter, "Anik, can you help me apply for AGT?" She stared at him. "Tay, are you serious?" "Serious as your mother's cooking," he said. And the whole family cheered. Going to America was a challenge in itself. The long flights, the medical checkups needed for travel clearance, the expense, but his children and grandchildren insisted on covering everything. "This is for Lola," they said. When they arrived in Los Angeles, the air felt strange and cool compared to the humidity back home. Lolo Mio wore his favorite beige barong, the same one he had worn at his 50th anniversary with Rosa. He wanted her spirit with him. Backstage at AGT, he sat holding his old, worn notebook, the one filled with handwritten lyrics of the songs he used to sing to her. Some were Tagalog classics, some were English ballads, but there was one he hadn't sung since the day she died, Unchained Melody. It had been their song, their wedding dance, their everything, but every time he tried to sing it after she passed, his voice cracked, and he would stop. Still, he brought the notebook with him. His hands trembled. He was not afraid of crowds. He was afraid of memories. The moment he stepped onto the bright AGT stage, the audience fell silent. He looked impossibly fragile, thin, stooped, moving slowly with a cane. The judges stared, curious and gentle. Simon Cowell leaned forward. "Hello, sir. What's your name?" "My name is Emilio Santos. But my grandchildren call me Lolo Mio." The audience chuckled softly. Simon smiled. "And how old are you, Emilio?" 91, he answered proudly. The audience erupted in applause. Even the judges clapped. He bowed slightly. "What made you come here today?" asked Sofia Vergara. He swallowed. I came To sing for my wife. His voice trembled. She passed away 12 years ago. But I promised her I'd sing for her again. A hush fell over the room. Simon's expression changed, something softened. And what song will you be singing? He asked gently. Lolo Mio opened his notebook with trembling hands. This is the song we danced to at our wedding. I haven't sung it since she left. But I want to be brave. For her. He whispered the title. Unchained Melody. The crowd gasped. Simon nodded slowly. Whenever you're ready. Dash dash dash. The lights dimmed. The first notes of the piano began to play. Lolo Mio closed his eyes. He pictured Rosa in her wedding dress, simple, elegant, smiling at him the way only she ever had. He felt her small hand in his. Felt the warmth of her palm. Smelled the sampaguita flowers from that church in Cavite. Then, he began to sing. At first, his voice was soft, fragile like tissue paper, but warm. So warm, each note seemed to stretch across the years and pull him back to the days when he was young. Oh, my love, my darling. The audience froze. People leaned forward in their seats. It didn't sound like the voice of a 91-year-old man. It sounded like the voice of a man whose heart had never aged. I've hungered for your touch. Someone in the audience already had tears streaming down their face. Simon Cowell bit his lip, hard. But then something magical happened. As Lolo Mio reached the chorus, his voice grew stronger, fuller, almost impossibly rich for a man his age. Every word quivered with longing. Every breath carried a lifetime of love, loss, devotion. He opened his eyes, and for a moment, just a moment, he saw her. Rosa, standing at the front of the stage, smiling. The same smile he fell in love with 70 years ago. His chest ached with an emotion so pure and overwhelming he thought it might stop his heart entirely. Are you still mine? His voice cracked, not from weakness, but from love. I need your love. At that line, Mia, watching from backstage, burst into uncontrollable tears, clinging to her mother's arm. The camera panned to the judges. Sophia covered her mouth, eyes glistening. Heidi Klum wiped her cheeks. Even Simon Cowell, was glassy-eyed, swallowing hard. When the song reached its final note, Lolo Mio whispered instead of sang. I'll be coming home, wait for me. Silence. Not a single breath in the whole theater. Then, the entire audience stood. Immediately, instantly, a tidal wave of applause surged. People were crying openly, strangers hugging strangers, ushers wiping tears, cameramen turning away to hide their emotions. But Simon wasn't clapping, he was staring, studying the old man with the kind of expression he only wore once every season, an expression that meant something extraordinary had just happened. Slowly, Simon stood, walked to the golden buzzer, placed his hand on it. Then he looked at Lolo Mio. That, he said softly, was the most beautiful performance I have ever heard on this show. The audience screamed. Simon pressed the golden buzzer. Gold confetti exploded from the sky like falling stars. Lolo Mio looked up, stunned, as golden light showered him. He felt the warmth on his skin. Rosa, he whispered into the falling confetti, this is for you. His knees buckled. His family rushed onto the stage, supporting him as he cried into his daughter's shoulder. Mahal ko, she heard me, he whispered through tears. I know she did. Simon approached gently, placing a hand on Lolo Mio's back. You didn't just sing, Simon said. You brought your wife back to life for all of us. The audience roared. Lolo Mio closed his eyes, overwhelmed. In that moment, he felt no pain. No sickness. No age. Just love. Pure, unbroken love. Dash dash dash. The golden buzzer performance went viral overnight. Millions of views. Headlines across the world. People saying it was the most emotional AGT moment ever aired. But what mattered most to Lolo Mio wasn't fame. It was that he kept his promise. A week later, he sat quietly by the window of their hotel room, holding the same wedding photo. The sunlight hit the glass frame gently. Mahal, he murmured, are you proud? A soft breeze drifted past him, warm and comforting, though the window was closed. He smiled. He liked to believe it was her. Dash dash dash. As the AGT live shows approached, his health worsened. But he refused to back out. I will finish this journey, he told the producers. Even if I have to crawl on stage. Backstage at the semifinals, he seemed weaker. Pale. Breathing slower. But when the stage manager asked if he was okay to perform, he nodded. My wife is waiting, he said simply. This time, he sang a Tagalog classic, Ikaw. When he sang the line, Ikaw ang pag-I big na binigay sa akin ang makapal. The audience reacted with such emotion that subtitles weren't even needed. His voice was a language everyone understood. Another standing ovation, another viral clip, another tidal wave of love from the world. After that performance, the doctor recommended rest. But Lolo Mio knew. He could feel it. He didn't have long. One night, after the show, he asked his daughter to bring him to the beach. The nearest one was an hour away. She insisted on calling a nurse to accompany them. They sat quietly by the water. The moon reflected on the surface like a pathway of light. Mahal, he whispered to the sea, I sang for you. Just like I promised. He closed his eyes, and it felt like she was sitting beside him again. Holding his hand, smiling softly, he felt warm, peaceful, complete. His daughter looked over. Tay, she asked softly, are you okay? Lolo Mio looked at the sky, at the stars, at the waves. He breathed deeply, and smiled. Your mother is here. She squeezed his hand tightly. Tay, he turned to her, kissed her forehead, and whispered, take care of our family. And tell Mia, she gave me courage. A tear ran down his cheek. I'm ready, he said. The wind grew warm again. His eyes drifted closed, his breathing slowed, and with the soft crash of the waves, Emilio, Lolo Mio, Santos, beloved husband, father, grandfather, singer, passed peacefully. The news broke the next morning. Fans all over the world mourned. The AGT stage dimmed its lights. Simon Cowell posted. He reminded us what love truly means. During the AGT finals, they played his performance on the screen as a tribute. Not a single person in the theater remained dry-eyed. Mia came on stage, holding the wedding photo of her grandparents. He sang for my Lola, she said. And she was waiting for him. The entire audience stood and applauded for a full minute, honoring a man whose love story had touched millions. A week later, his family brought his ashes home to the Philippines. They scattered them on the hill where he first proposed to Rosa, under the mango tree where they had spent countless afternoons laughing, dreaming, loving. As the ashes danced in the wind, Mia whispered, Lolo, you found her. And she imagined him, young again, strong again, walking hand in hand with Rosa through a field of golden light. Together at last, forever.